Hi, welcome to Truth with Tal and Isaac. I'm Tal.
I'm Isaac.
Episode number 142 coming at you, and it's a big one.
Actually.
Like, for real, big one.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions, just the hottest team on the planet, funnest team on the planet. Everybody loves them, and
That's not
good.
true, and we're going to talk about that.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's
Because
true.
there's a loud minority of Lions haters that are worth discussing.
Yeah, so heavy deep dive in the Lions. I mean, you talk about Michigan's ginormous upset of Ohio State. That was fun.
Yeah, lots to talk about in that game, too.
Yeah, lots good off the top stuff.
Okay, so let's go into that. I'll start. I have exams. No one cares about that. In the fourth quarter, plugging away. Wore this shirt today for an exam to embody winning. It's a
Nice.
Steph Curry shirt.
Steph Curry.
So
close.
a couple more off the tops. Win the day. So I posted a picture of you this morning wearing a suit and said win the day. There was like 12 reactions. People loved it. So
Like what?
like I don't know, like little quips from people like that you expect, but just like they liked you in the suit. That just got a lot of attention, so I just had to say that.
Today was the chamber annual general meeting, so I dressed like a grown-up today. Actually, somebody at work said to me, "Oh, sorry, Tal, do you have a funeral?" Because normally I don't dress super conservative.
Yep, we get it. You're super progressive and dress cool.
The only remnants of this is the nice white dress shirt with the quarter zip. So for those folks that just listen on Spotify and Apple Play, you should go to YouTube.
Apple Play doesn't.
Not Apple Play.
Apple Play isn't a
Apple
thing.
Play's in your car.
Yeah, I don't even think it's called that. I think it's like carp. Anyways, thanks for listening. You go to YouTube, see us, whatever.
Good.
So quarter zip. Where'd you get that?
Nice quarter zip. So Youngblood got this for me for my 55th birthday.
So I wrote down OG birthday. Do you have any birthday remarks to give?
Do the right thing and have fun.
Okay,
Those
I
are
meant
6
like
words.
I meant like talk about the stuff you did on your birthday, or you can just.
No, we'll talk about that when we talk about the Lions.
Okay. So this is another one. Bit of a change of pace here. Isaac name draft. So apparently, because Gladiator is coming out, and I'm pumped about Gladiator came out. I loved it. He didn't see it. Whatever. Apparently, Maximus could have been my name. So I got Maximus.
It was on the list. It was the short list.
And
It
Xavier.
might have been number 2.
So Maximus, Xavier, and Isaac. I just like to go through that thought process.
Okay, so last name is Chudner. So obviously not a normal name. So you want a cool, different name. So it was, Isaac, Isaiah, Maximus, or it was Max, but it was going to be Maximus.
Because of Gladiator?
Because the first Gladiator, yeah. And Xavier. And Uncle Dante was like, I like Xavier. Give me the ball, Rock. Pass me the rock, X.
That's a really deep cut reference. That's a reference to basketball in which he would be playing basketball with future me, and he wanted to call me X while we played basketball.
Yep.
Okay.
But we ended up going with Isaac, which I think works out well. Spelled properly, 2 A's.
Yeah, that's fine. I just could have been named Maximus.
Maximus would have been neat.
Like Gladiator. I would have been named after Gladiator. Just pretty cool. Want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, you're named after Isaac Asimov. That's also pretty
Yep.
cool.
And some author. Washed.
He's dead, yes.
Okay, so he's washed up. NRL champion. NRL Big Basketball League I'm in.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Pretty emotional game. Got the win. Won the finals with my boys.
Bit of controversy, eh?
A little bit of controversy. Like I can't say too much here. I couldn't incriminate myself, but buddy, you can't guard me. Don't complain. Simple as that. And if you don't like playing physical ball, then hit the gym. Simple, right? People are complaining about going to the hoop parties. Buddy, if I get the rock, I'm going downhill. You can stop me if you'd like, but I'm not stopping myself.
And Isaac drafted a team of his guys that perhaps weren't the most skilled basketball players, but they all complemented each other really well. No, they had lots of skill, but I'm like, reach. No, they played really well as a team, and they're strong.
Yeah, I kind of I'm just going to draft a team of my boys.
Not like Mancina strong.
I'm going to draft a team of my boys that are also strong, that will also have my back.
True.
And we're a bunch of glue guys, and we got it done.
Yeah.
Honored to.
Who was the MVP?
Of the league, Tom.
Who was the MVP of the finals?
I was.
Good. All right. Good for you.
Thanks.
I think that's more important than the league MVP.
Well, that's the thing. That's a cupcake. Anyways, Tom will probably listen. I was just texting Tom the other day.
Hey, Tom.
Tom and I, big exam tomorrow. We got to lock in. Anyways.
Big exam.
Okay, that's enough of this. And then I might have a story at the end of the episode about getting Batman cups if we have time. But we might not, so I'll let you go ahead now.
Super good cups. Free Fahad. So we need to talk about this superhero, Fahad Yusuf. He's the man. For those of people that didn't pay attention to the beginning, actually it was about the middle of the Packer game. Are we frozen here?
Well, we just froze. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Anyway, there's fans who come on and they bring the halftime stuff for the big flag or something. This was before the game. Oh, that's right. So, a whole bunch of fans, they bring the flag out before the game. Now, Lions fans have gotten from crazy to super intense, very passionate. So I guess one of these fans was trash talking some of the Green Bay guys, including Coach LaFleur. Coach LaFleur, option one would have been to ignore. Option two would have been give him a thumbs up or a wave or something. Instead, he was trash talking to them back and forth. So it got heated. People had to be separated. So it took to about halftime before the Lions or somebody's security could review the game film. And they kicked this hero, Fahad Yusuf, out of the game.
He's a hero.
Yeah. Now, would you like to get the local reference?
I'm going to just kind of cut this short. Basically, we have some kind of connection to the guy who's yelling at Coach LaFleur. I'm going to try to get him on the show. I really want him on the show.
Team Radovich, help us out. We need you to make this connection because that'd be great. He's a hero.
So, yeah, we're sprinkling that. The guy that kicked out of the Lions game, I'm going to try to get him on the pod.
Hashtag free Fahad.
Okay, what else?
Free Jimmy. I think it's time to talk about Jimmy Butler. Who's his hero? Please, I queued you up. Talk about Jimmy.
I don't want to get into too much.
Don't get emotional.
No, I'm happy. Jimmy Butler basically might be freed from old man Riley in Miami and might get traded to like Golden State, Golden State, Dallas, or Houston were the teams they're saying. Yep. I would love all three, to be honest, especially if Jalen Green left in the Houston deal. And then Golden State, him playing with Curry, I would love that. I'm a big Curry guy. And then Dallas, I don't love Dallas, but like he's a Texas kid. Be cool see like him and Luka have
be pretty interesting.
Oddly similar play styles sometimes. It'd just be interesting to see that. And Kyrie's his buddy, I think.
And they could probably play Jimmy, Clay, Irving, Luka, and what's the big's name?
Lively or Gafford. Well, Jimmy's played the four for a lot of his time in Miami.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he could play the power forward with Dallas.
That'd be cool.
Anyways, I don't want to get into that too much because I know time people don't care about that. But it is a big deal. Jimmy Butler's my guy. He might get traded.
Okay.
What else you have?
MLB is floating out the golden at-bat concept. I'm not going to provide my opinion until you provide your opinion.
Well, I think
you should explain what it is first.
We shouldn't talk about it because nobody cares, and it's not going to happen.
Some people do care.
It's some stupid rule that I hate, where it's like you can choose who hits at any point in the game. You're going to hate it too, right?
Oh, it's unbelievably stupid.
Like if they put it in a video game, it'd be like, oh, this is dumb. If it was in a video game, they're going to put it in real life. No shot.
So the idea is, let's say Kerry Carpenter was the last out of their previous inning. The first three Tigers get on board, and they've got Javi Baez up to bat. They can take Kerry Carpenter and just insert him up to bat instead of Javi Baez. It's fake. It's kind of like saying, I think we're going to have Barry Sanders run the ball on 1st and 10 when you're on defense.
Yeah.
Like it's that stupid.
It's really dumb. It won't happen. That's why I didn't think we were going to talk about it. It will. Coach Rob asked me. Shout out Coach Rob, is my guy. This dumb golden at bat. If you care about baseball and you heard about this, it's not going to happen. So don't be concerned.
Dumb.
Okay, what else, Jeff?
See Aaron Rodgers. I love seeing him fail.
Yeah, we're not really talking about the Jets today.
No, but I just wanted to say.
But yeah, like we don't have a spot to talk about it, so go for it.
Aaron Rodgers is bad for so many different reasons. I think Kirby Joseph is still in his head, but that's a whole separate issue. So I just love seeing him fail. He deserves to fail. Not many guys. We don't cheer against a lot of guys. We cheer against that punk.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, we definitely cheer against. No need to get... The Jets have just completely imploded. Completely, and Aaron Rodgers is like at the core of this implosion. He had one good game this year.
And we were there for.
I don't even... I was referring to like the other... last week, but whatever, that's fine. Jets are cooked, Rodgers is cooked. Go get vaccinated, buddy. Okay, what else do you have?
That's it for Off the Tops. We're going to talk a little bit about Florida and some other episodes later on if we get some time.
Yeah, okay, that's good stuff. So let's get into... What do we want to... Do we want to talk about what's fresh with the Lions beating the Packers Thursday Night Football, or do we want to
talk about the Bears for a couple minutes?
For sure. There's a lot to talk about.
Just because that was Thanksgiving. It was my birthday. We had a special guest appearance by Urban Paul, who came down.
My guy, Blake's guy.
It was actually good. The funny story is, do you want to talk about the breakfast?
I don't think we should get it. There's a long-winded story where basically...
There's a lot of deep cuts.
I'm not going to get into it. Basically... No. It doesn't. It's so convoluted. It's like not even gonna make sense. We don't have time. But like Urban Paul is my guy. Shout out Urban Paul and shout out Blake. And they're now friends.
Yeah, we're all friends.
Okay. They met while I was asleep in my house, and they were
hey, what's up?
That's what they just kind of bumped into each other at my house while I was asleep. Anyways, keep going with
the Bears game was much tougher than it needed to be for a lot of reasons. One, we pretty much ran out of linebackers and defensive line. So this second half, it was just scrambled eggs on defense. The JMO penalty, this is on the throwing the ball at the a Bears guy. I'm so glad that evidence has now come out. As a Bears cornerback, had actually tried to trip him.
Yeah, kind of did.
Yeah, he tried to shoot him too, I think.
No, you can't. Keep
He
going.
didn't do that? Okay. But it was close, but doesn't matter. The Detroit Lions cannot be beaten. So they just said, we're going to win. We had some problems on offense. That's okay. It happens. We got a little fancy, similar to the Tampa game earlier in the year, but they closed out very well. We need to talk a little bit about pregame. Worked out quite well with our friends from TD. TD's kind of sponsoring this episode.
Sure.
Yep. And then Blake and Urban joined us for the Ticket D entrance into the ballpark. It was awesome. We got pretty decent seats.
We got into the game for a very good number, and we were happy with where we watched.
And then the Beale City stand-up family was good. But then what happens is we see 4 people with their jackets on leaving the end of the third quarter, right? Like putting on their scarf. So that's an opportunity for us. So I ran over. Isaac's like, go, 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 go. So I said, hey, folks, you're leaving already? Yeah, we are. Any chance we could get your tickets? Sure, no problem at all. Where are you sitting? Row 1. So now we're sitting in row number 1, which is, I don't know, $2,000 a person.
We're not going to speculate on these nice people's seats.
Yeah.
No need.
Thank you very much for giving us end of the third quarter, the entire fourth quarter, row 1. It was exciting. It was intense. It was a great
loud.
way. It was a great way to celebrate my 55th birthday. Fun memories. It was good.
Yeah, Buddy here didn't want to go, and like, Buddy, the game's on your birthday. We're going, so we just kind of figured it out. Made up work the next day and the day
lots
before.
of stuff.
Had to shuffle. I said my professor was kind of considering canceling class. This is actually a good tidbit. I'm like, yeah, like it is American Thanksgiving that day, so no need to have class. I kind of said this like tongue in cheek in class. Mind you, there's like 7 people that go to this class. So we all know each other, kind of.
Are we allowed to say what class it is? Or
No.
Okay.
But I can just say this bit. And he's like, oh, are you American? And I'm like, no, I'm not American. And he's like, why do you care? I'm like, oh, there's like a big football game that's on. And I'll say a lot of people in this class aren't football fans. We'll leave it at that. And he's like, oh, like you want to watch the game? Like, yeah, like I kind of want to go. And he's like, oh, well, you know, in that case, well, maybe we won't have class that day.
Nice.
So, and then everyone was just like, great. And everyone pretended like, yeah, big game, you got to watch. So everyone kind of went on this bandwagon. So missed class, but didn't miss class. The game itself, there's a lot to talk about with this game. I'll rip through some of the bad, and then whatever you want to talk about, you can stop me. Is that cool?
Yep.
JMO, 15-yard penalty plus the crackback block. So we kind of had 2 big penalties.
Yeah.
The block I rewatched wasn't bad. Lapses in the secondary and second half. You'd probably talk about, like, you're going to blame kind of not really having a pass rush, and that's why there's some lapses, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Bates missed a 45-yarder. That was a big miss. It was his first miss all year. It was due. I'm glad it came in a win.
Oh, that's fine. Get that out of your system.
So Eberflus, just, man, like, we all thought he was getting fired in the offseason, and I know people don't care about the Bears coaching stuff, but it's worth getting into. Had a really stupid challenge that we saw live, and we're like, that doesn't make sense, and it didn't get overturned.
Nobody around us understood it.
Yeah.
We thought we were missing something. Nope, we were not.
And then there's the whole timeout fiasco, and if we recorded right after, we could have talked about the fiasco for probably 20 minutes.
Yeah, if you don't know about the end of the Chicago Bears Lions game for Thanksgiving, just Google it, watch the last 5 minutes, and you'll be shocked at the stupidity of Eberflus.
So it's Eberflus, and then there's kind of the Caleb apologists, the sympathizers that are like, oh, he's a rookie quarterback. Buddy, you played enough football. You got to know if you got to take a timeout. You got to know that. I don't care if you're a rookie. He's been in these games before. It's not the Pac-12 anymore, Caleb, right? So should have taken a timeout, wasted like 27
if Dan
seconds.
Campbell is making that same mistake,
Oh, man.
Goff is going to catch it.
Goff would take time out, but
He would.
We're going to talk about Dan, and if Dan made that mistake, the media would crush him. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the media.
Yeah, listen, Dan Campbell is not a traditional.
No, we're not doing this now.
coach?
Later,
Okay.
we're going to go into that later. So the run game, like you said, similar to the Tampa game in the sense where it's like they kind of abandoned the run game, and then it was like, why are we throwing the ball all the time and whatever?
The offensive line didn't play great either.
Nope. The game was over, right? The Lions were down. The Bears had the ball on the Lions 13 with like 40 seconds left, and the Lions had no opportunity to get the ball back. But the penalty kind of brought it back, and that's when it was like, okay, we might be okay. And then the madness at the end, I couldn't believe it. We were shocked
because
yeah.
we were watching the clock, and I was a little bit confused because it's going down. I assumed, okay, that's the game clock, but it's okay. No, it was. Sorry, I thought it was the play clock. It was not the play clock. It was the game clock. And when it ran out, we're like, is that it? Like, how could that be? We were just confused. Basically, he didn't use his time properly. Should have called a timeout. Should have done something to allow them to at least try and kick a field goal or run another play. They didn't. They screwed up. He got fired 3 days later. Lions got to win. Sorry about that, Chicago.
So about that, some of the good here. Gibbs and Monty played really well in the Chicago game. They just didn't get the ball as much as I'd like. And Gibbs had a bad fumble, right? Talk about that. Bad fumble.
Happens.
So I wrote this down. I did my notes for this game before the Packers game. I wrote down all this stuff about Tim Patrick. And he only had 2 catches. But I wrote all this stuff and I'm like, he's making big blocks. Both catches were huge. He's playing great. Obviously, we're going to talk about him with the Packers game. But just shout out TP, right? Shout him out right now.
One of the things that I don't know is obviously the Lions receivers are getting a ton of credit for their blocking ability. I wonder if, like other good teams, Philly, Buffalo, KC, do their wide receivers block too and is talked to as much? Because I don't see their ferocious blocking on other teams with their wide receivers.
I'm glad you brought that up because now I actively watch for it.
Yeah.
So San Francisco, their guys block. That's kind of been a thing.
Debo's tough, right?
Like Debo will block. San Francisco will block.
Kittle's a good blocker.
I was just watching, like on the primetime games, that's when I'll really look out for it. Where there's only one game on and I can be like, I'm just going to watch their wide receivers. They don't block like Lions receivers. Especially like J-Mo. Like J-Mo wants to hit people. So O-line, overall, I'd say good in the Bears game. Reeder and Smith, 2 big games. Timely plays. Rodrigo, great pass breakup on 4th down on that Swift reel route.
Yes.
And then just went down.
That was tough.
Really tough.
That was tough.
Rodrigo was playing out of his mind.
Playing really, really well.
Arnold had a great first half, not a great second.
Yep.
And Jack Fox pinning on the 1, my favorite play in sports.
It's awesome.
Great stuff. So that's all I got on Lions Bears.
Good.
Okay.
It was a nice win.
Nice win. Lions Packers, go ahead.
Okay, so what a game. Oh my gosh. Like the few days prior, everybody loved the Pack, right? They're looking at the Lions' injuries, and it was unbelievable. I think for that game, they had 12 guys on injury reserve, plus missing about another 6 guys that were on their either first or second team depth chart. Nobody else in the league was within half of that in terms of amount of players that were lost. So they're bringing in guys from nowhere, and they're starting. Like they're bringing them in on Sunday and Monday and said, okay, run some plays, and you're gonna get snaps. So it was easy to criticize and question the Lions. Or not criticize, but really question the Lions. Say, hey,
especially going into that game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were like, look, Lions are a great team, and they recognize greatness, but it's like, they are down so many guys, and Green Bay is playing good ball. So there's a lot. That's why the spread closed at like 3 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lions were healthy. That's a 7.5 point spread.
Comfortably. And that's completely biased, but I agree.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Here's why they won. The first half, these defensive guys who had absolutely no clue what they were doing, I'm sure didn't even know the plays, played out of their minds. Right? O'Connor, Muhammad, Miles Adams, Quan Alexander, playing out of their minds. Held the Pack to 7 points in the first half.
Yeah.
So good. We need to give some props to the secondary. They're pretty healthy, and they're playing pretty well. And obviously, that Fab Four of Arnold, Davis III, Branch, and Kirby, great. Who's the slot corner?
Branch often plays slot corner.
No, the other guy.
Amik Robertson?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets after.
He's been playing great, too. Yeah. So that helped. That made a huge difference. Again, who was the Packer wide receivers talking at all? Jaden Reed. And let's see, he did have 1 target, 0 receptions. And he was the guy who was mouthing. He's a little quiet after this.
Yeah.
It was back and forth. I think we need to talk about, I wrote down 4 players here that made the difference in this game. Please talk about Sir Tim Patrick first.
Okay, sure. So I wrote down, there's a lot of guys that had a great. Tim Patrick, one of my buddies had continually bet on Tim Patrick anytime touchdown just because he loves him, and that cashed, which was nice. I wrote down Ezekiel Turner. I thought he played fantastic.
He did play well.
And I think he was the highest graded defensive player.
Yeah, you know what? The PFF is always interested. You've propped that up before. Now I'm paying attention to it. It's good.
Jack Campbell was all over the place. We saw that right from the start. He played
Only
great.
starting linebacker. He has improved so much this year. Another future All-Pro on the lines.
Carlton Davis, other than that one play where Watson cooked him, I thought Davis played an awesome game. And he's getting some press now. A lot of people are talking about him, which I like. Laporta, big game. Really good to see him.
Big game. He made 1 spectacular diving catch.
Goff,
no business getting there.
So Goff, he had the one INT. I thought Goff played great.
He did. He played really well. That one INT was bad. He was trying to look the linebacker, the safety off, whatever it is. It didn't work. He got picked. It's okay. Sometimes when that happens to Goff, you worry about a little bit of downward slide, a little bit of momentum killing stuff. Nope. He came back and he was solid the rest of the game.
Dan Skipper, I'm sure you want to talk about, allowed one pressure starting at left tackle.
Skipper did not play great against the Bears, but he played quite good against the Packers, and we did not miss Taylor Decker nearly as much.
O'Connor and Muhammad, right coming out the gate, those are the two guys where I'm like, man, these guys played so well. And they didn't grade as well as I thought. They graded well. I thought they'd grade like super good.
Yeah,
those guys played great. And O'Connor, I love, because if you watch him closely, he gets the crowd going as often as he can.
Yeah, he does.
So does Zadarius Smith, which I like.
But I like the fact these guys are playing. Well, realistically, they're not 30 snap guys. They maybe did against the Pack. But you bring these guys in for 16 or 18 snaps, they're going to bring the heat.
They're walk-ons, essentially, right?
Yes,
like these are walk-on guys just playing.
People's
right?
practice squad guys.
They found themselves in Thursday night football.
Crappy teams practice squad guys.
Yeah, that's or coming from the couch in some cases too. Arnold played really well, and Campbell was talking him up a lot and said it's probably the best game from Arnold, and I think I would agree. The one PI, there's a lot of debate about. I think it was PI.
It was.
But there's a lot of people that are like, that's not PI.
And next year, it's not going to be PI because they won't have that image in their mind, and he'll improve a little bit, be able to sneak a look back a little bit.
Next year, there's going to be a banner hanging in that stadium. I'll tell you that. This is a Super Bowl team.
Yep.
This is I can't, every time I'm like.
So much grit. I think we need to talk about the fourth downs.
I have a whole bunch.
Go nuts.
Okay, do you want to talk about any of the bad of the game?
No.
Okay, that's fine. There was a little bit of bad I had, but we don't have to talk
There's
about
some bad, but
that's fine.
Let's think. W or L?
Okay, that's fine.
W.
Yep. I want to shout out Jer. So I was talking to Jer, and Jer said that Matt LaFleur looks like, this is great, a Spy Kids villain. So like those crappy Spy Kids CGI movies, Matt LaFleur looks like a villain, and he does.
He does.
The camera always goes to him, and he's making, I got to be careful what I say, a really dumb face every time they show Matt LaFleur.
Yes, quite a dumb face.
And it's like, he fires me up. I'm going to move before I say something bad. Green Bay, I can't talk much here. Bunch of punks. They're punks. And we saw this prime time.
So much.
And it's because LaFleur doesn't control them, right? He's not a leader of men. Maybe he can drop good plays.
Yeah,
not a
listen,
leader.
if the Green Bay fans are yipping at Dan Campbell prior to a game in Green Bay, Campbell's just smiling at him.
Yeah, and then maybe he would kill them. He'd maybe wrestle them as well.
He could break their heads.
So, wrap this up. They sent 5 to 7 consistently, and they had Love under pressure a lot, especially first half, like you mentioned. Confidence wavered in the second half, but I will say this. As soon as Green Bay tied it up and we were getting the ball back, I was so confident.
Yep, I was confident.
I was like, we're going to go down and
nervous.
Score.
I was nervous.
We'll talk about it was a very nervous game, a very nerve-wracking game.
Yeah, listen, the whole fourth down thing, I think we need to talk about it.
I mean,
there was 5 fourth downs.
It felt like 12.
It felt like 12, but they were successful on 4 or 5. Now, I am not a mathematician, but I believe that's 80%. Is it not, Isaac?
Yeah.
So that plays itself out in the long run, especially the last one. Campbell knows his people. What is he? He's a leader of people. He's a leader of men. He knows his defense is beat up, tired, injured, because they lost guys during the game. Like they were finishing with nobody. Their 4 guys were nobody other than Zadarius Smith, who they had picked up from Cleveland. So he said, okay, what's my best thing to do right now? Goff hands it to Montgomery, runs behind Penei. They made that 4th down call, and I didn't find out about this until yesterday. I guess Campbell had decided to kick the ball, to kick it. Goff comes over and says, man, we should run it. So they talked about it.
Watch the clip, not really. Goff is just kind of upset that Dan says go for it. He doesn't beg or convince. He's just kind of upset. And Dan just looks at him, and he clearly read some HR textbooks. He's doing some of my reading, and he read his body language, and he said, we're leaving the boys out there. So we'll talk about some of the 4th downs. The 4th and goal from the 2 right before half.
Yeah.
I actually would have kicked it there.
Yep, me too.
And that's probably wrong.
That was the pass to Gibbs? I think it was Gibbs. Patrick was the next one.
I don't remember. Regardless, because my whole thing with going forward on the goal line is if you don't get it, the other team's got to go 98, 99 yards. It's in this case, it's right before half, so you don't have much.
Yep.
And that would have put them up 13-7. So I get going for it, and I'm glad they got it, obviously. 4th and inches, your own 31. Pitching, like running a halfback pitch. We didn't like that one.
We didn't like that. We didn't like that call.
I didn't even like going for it there
either did I.
But I get it. And then the 4th and inches at the end of the game. I also would have kicked this. but I'm wrong, clearly, because they didn't. They picked up 7, and you talked about the hole. Did you see the hole?
Yes.
Coach Rob said he would have picked up a few. I'm like, yeah, you would have, Coach.
Coach Rob would have got the first down for sure.
So they get 7 off of it and then clinch the game. Where do you want to go with the 4th down stuff? Because there's a lot of places we can go.
I think we need to talk about Rob Parker and some of the media that are just... Rob Parker used to be in Detroit for a while, and he's a blowhard from New York now, and he just talks crap. Now, some of this, I think, is just because they want clicks, they want headlines. Now it's... Everybody loves the Lions, so it's easy to criticize them, right? Oh, nice cup. So it's easy to criticize them. So what's happening is people are criticizing Dan Campbell, saying he's not a good coach. I beg to differ, sir. I look at wins and losses from before Dan Campbell got here and since he's been here. Started off a little slow, 3-13-1. Since then, he's been on fire. So... the proof is in the standings. Shut up, Rob Parker. I'm not sure if you're a listener to the show, but shut up.
So, yeah, you attacked the media, and I'm glad you did. So the media has this thing where I don't really understand it. It's like Monday, and kind of you got to put out headlines, and I get it, whatever. Campbell and the Lions are not the team to go at. This is the best team in football.
And just fans love them.
Most fans.
Listen, if you're in Chicago, if you're in Green Bay, you're in Minnesota, you're not going to like them. I get that. That's rivalry stuff. But just random people in New York, love them. Random people in Dallas, love them.
For the most part, you've got this loud minority of like losers online that are just calling all the Lions dirties. Whatever. Yeah. It's not dirty. It's called physical, buddy. Yeah. Right? Like going for the knees is what Kirby does. That's like, is it?
You can't go high anymore because they always get they get a 15-yard penalty there. So you go to the knees.
Yeah. And so a lot of people have done this bit. The aggressiveness might work in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it's not going to work. Just like in San Francisco last year. It's revisionist history is the term, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Let's not do that for the San Francisco game. They didn't lose the San Francisco game because Campbell made a couple bad decisions.
Catch the ball, Josh.
Right? Like Josh Reynolds didn't have a good game. Kim Vildor, right? Obviously, there's so many things to pinpoint about why we lost that fateful day in San Francisco.
The Lions now have 4 better cornerbacks than Vildor.
Exactly. Probably more. So what I'm saying is...
Emmanuel Mosley comes back, they got 5.
What I'm saying is we didn't lose the San Francisco game because of Campbell. And there's another thing that you people might not have thought about. Sorry to say you people. I just meant the media and the naysayers. Nothing else. If this is the NFC Championship game, maybe he kicks it. Did you ever think that he might coach a game in the regular season different than the playoffs? Did you ever think it's dependent on play calls that are working?
I think he looked at his people and said his defense is tired, beat up. He barely knows the guys' names. They don't know the plays.
That's good.
He's got to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to put my guys that are limping and hurting and don't know what they're doing out there? Or I'm going to give it to Montgomery and I'm going to run behind the best offensive lineman in football. And some people are saying the best player in football.
By some people, do you mean us?
Us, no, but I think I heard Blake say it as well.
Yes, Blake!
But here's the deal. Right tackle only has so much impact. In that situation, he had significant impact. And 7 yards down the field, did you see who was right next to Montgomery?
Skip.
And Penny.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Penny
obviously. Yeah. Penny gets a lot of rushing yards. Yeah. So my thing is, these games, like this game is going to be coached differently. Everything's going to be different. You can't it's not an apples to apples comparison saying this game to a playoff game. You can't do that. That's not fair. It's not fair to the team. It's not fair to Campbell. Campbell was like, kind of asked about it, and he's like, coaches don't do it because they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to lose their job. And he kind of talked about like his security as coach, which is great, right? Like, Campbell's going to be something's going to have to go drastically wrong for Campbell not to be a hero in Michigan for a long time.
But the Lions say that as soon as they signed Campbell, most first-year guys, they signed to 4 years or maybe 5 years. They gave Campbell 6 and said, we're riding with you.
And I think we even talked about it here.
We talked about it a long time ago.
As soon as this number is 6 years, they're going to suck for a year, and they know that.
I got to give a shout-out to Ken Stewart. One of the things when we first started recording is we hoped the Lions to be good enough one day that they get some primetime games. Oh my gosh, they get so many primetime games.
Can't get out of primetime.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Can't get out of primetime. Game of the week this Sunday.
Game of the week this Sunday. Yeah.
I want to talk about a couple more things about the Pack, and then we'll talk about the Bills.
Okay.
Jake Bates, selling bricks a year and a half ago. He has now kicked 3 winners. this year. That's unbelievable.
Build that statue.
Yep. I think now is the time to talk about Ali McNeil and how great he is, and the fact that he was concussed, but he somehow convinced people to come back. I'm good. I'm good. I don't know how that. Like, I know, I'm not sure if the NFL people listen to this much, but like the whole NFL concussion protocol is supposed to stop that from happening. He just said, "No, I'm good," and went back out.
Where was Will Smith to say, "I gave you a concussion"? That part didn't happen. McNeil just said he's playing.
Yeah.
A head injury, concussion injury. I don't love it. He should be okay this week, right? We'll talk about that now.
I think we can talk about that now.
So, big picture. I'll wrap up this game, and then you can talk about the Bills.
Yes.
This game put them at about an 80 to an 86% chance to get the 1 seed per my analytics.
Yeah.
By my analytics, I mean I read a couple articles.
Good stat that you sent me. It took me a little while to
explain
get it.
that. Yeah, that was good.
So basically what they did is they predicted all the different scenarios. Well, they showed all the different scenarios for the Lions' next 4 games, whether they win or loss, in every combination. And it showed the percentages. Obviously, they went 4-4, 100% NFC, 100% number 1 seed. And so, super interesting little stat.
Thank you. They jumped 10 to 20% because of the Green Bay win.
Yeah.
Is where that number put them, which makes sense. So talk about some injuries, and then you go Buffalo. Raymond Anzalone, looks like week 16, week 17 for playoffs. 1 seed would be big, because if we can roll these guys out fresh for the divisional game.
So big.
Just that'll feed me.
I know you say it doesn't matter, we'll win.
Yeah.
Love to give him an extra week.
That's my... Are you just talking about like when someone goes out, it's like as long as it's not...
Yep.
Yeah, I'm very much in the mindset where it's like someone's going to go out as long as it's nothing.
Next man up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's working. Then Decker, Reeder, Pascal, Onzurike, Mosley. Theoretically, all back for Buffalo. Maybe McNeil. Is that correct?
Maybe McNeil. You said Pascal as well?
I did.
Yep.
That'll feed me.
That's big.
Nom, nom, nom.
Right? Josh Allen is a beast. We recognize that. I believe Josh Allen is the MVP of the league.
For sure.
Shout out Uncle Phil.
Yeah, that's... But shout out Nate Gray because he looks like him.
He does. Good job, Nate. But I am not picking Buffalo to win, even though some people are. I think the Detroit Lions will beat Buffalo. Obviously, them giving up 78 points to the Rams made me feel a little bit better.
There's a lot of... Uncle Phil said this. There's a lot of bad stuff on tape now about how to score against Buffalo. That you think Ben Johnson's just going to be injecting 20 hours a day this week. And that's kind of my mindset.
Ben's eating chicken wings, flats, or drums all day, coming up with awesome plays.
So I kind of have this thing where it's like I'm kind of nervous going into games, but I'm also
always a little nervous going into
But I'm like,
games.
we're the best team in football. We're going to beat whoever we play. And sometimes I convince myself, and it's like, doesn't matter. Give me Philly, NFC Championship.
And then
I don't
you
care.
float out stuff about Hutch coming back for the NFC Championship.
I hate that. I don't like reading that.
Listen, I have no idea if he just completely made that up, but I assume it's just clickbait and it gets me excited.
But like, man, this team is so good, and every single time I see any sort of NFL power rankings, I know the Lions are going to be at 1. I click every time just to see it.
Oh, me too.
And I just look at it.
Saw it yesterday.
Yep, you saw another one.
Yeah.
They're 1. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But seriously, it's like clockwork, where it's like,
for those of you that don't know Steve Radovich, you should talk to him about the Lions. Man, does he have deep dives.
He's a ball knower.
Oh, he's a ball knower.
Yeah, bro knows ball.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Rad.
So it's just every time where it's like, oh, key takeaways from Sunday, random NFL article. Yep, the Lions won again.
Okay, a couple more games we need to talk about in the future. The Bears. What do you think is going to happen when they play the Bears?
Poverty Bears. I don't care. I have to be careful with what I say.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, Caleb Williams.
49ers. CMC out for the year. Debo talking all sorts of smack. That's another win.
Old man 49ers. I'm fine.
Now, the Vikings' last regular season game,
got
Philly dependent.
They're fraud checked.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about Minnesota, but the only thing is, if Philly loses another game, which they could, I think they play Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, that's a whole nother creep. How is Pittsburgh so good?
I can't understand how.
I know we're not talking about that, like NFL is NFL proper, but how is Pittsburgh so good? Sorry. Go ahead.
If the last game against Minnesota does not matter, Dan's probably going to play guys a little more than he should, but it's going to be everything for Minnesota, so they're going to play all those. So if the game is not relevant, it's an L. If the game is relevant, it's a W.
Doesn't matter. We're winning out. I don't care. We're getting the 1 seed. We're going to 2 playoff games in Detroit. And it's going to happen. And by we, I mean us, because we haven't talked about this yet. We're going. Right? There's just, and I'll pay for you. I don't care. There's no shot that the Lions have a game and we're not there in Detroit. Yeah. Pack your bags. By bags, I mean apple and protein bar.
Apple and protein
We're
bar.
going to the game.
Maybe a meat stick.
And perhaps a water bottle with a pack of electrolytes is what I like to bring.
That's good.
Is there anything else on the lines other than that we're going to these playoff games and we're watching them win?
The post game with Skip. Oh my God, is that great?
Yeah, the post game stuff. I'm a sucker
And obviously
for it.
Dan Campbell he writes some stuff down. He just doesn't just wing it off the top of his head, but it's awesome.
Yeah, whoever's doing it is a good job.
This Netflix series is going to be so good.
What does that mean? Is there one being filmed?
I'm sure there's a bunch of nerds that are writing this stuff and getting tape and doing it already.
I'm not gonna watch that.
Well, we should probably write it and produce it.
Okay. Yep. So now we're gonna try to get back on track. Do you have anything else on the lines other
You
than
could
that?
be Ben Johnson.
Do you have anything else on the lines other than that we're winning the Super Bowl?
Nope.
Okay. So Michigan, Ohio State, you want to talk about now?
Yeah, listen, we in probably July realized, listen, it's a down year, no big deal. We can put our hands in the air. I think I said 4 years. I think you said 5 years.
I'm going to give them a decade. I was going to give them a decade because I haven't had a lot of championships, and they gave me one. So, benefit of doubt. I don't think I used that right, but that's fine.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Agreed.
Leeway.
So they've had a tough year. Shocking to me how they couldn't get a quarterback who could throw the ball down the field at all. But they didn't. They lost a lot of players on offense, all but one. And they lost all but 3 players on defense, I think.
Okay, rein it in now.
Ohio State, I think the highest paid NIL team in history.
Fact.
And they've just been talking. This is our year. We're going to make up for the past 3 years. I don't know. What was the point spread? 19 points or something like that?
I thought it was 20, but everyone was saying like 23 and a half and 24. So I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Is an unbelievably huge spread.
For a rivalry game
And I thought they would have a tough time covering.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
Yeah, go nuts.
So Wiz called this weeks prior. Where he kind of has this phrase where he'll say like,
I didn't know Wiz was an oracle.
so he'll say, he has this phrase where it's like, I'm going to get up for it, which kind of means like, I'm going to be into it. So he's like, Ohio State, like, I'm getting up for it. And I'm like, dude, like, come, they're going to get wiped. And I was obviously like negative. I'm like, they're not going to run with these guys. He's like, buddy, I'm getting up for it. So he kept hammering this. Then the game happened and he's like, that's divine intervention. And I'm like, yeah, like when in Pulp Fiction, when Jules and Vincent get shot at and they don't die, divine intervention. That's what that was. Like you can do the whole no QB, no receivers, but then you can go with the actual tangible, like 2 of their 3 best players didn't play. They threw for 62 yards with 2 red zone turnovers and got stuffed on the goal line. Yeah. And they still found a way. And Wiz kept saying like, oh wow, they got it to the goal line twice. Like that's good. Like if you told me they threw 2 goal line INTs, you'd be like, oh, they made it to the goal line twice.
I would be surprised that. I assume one of them would have been an interception and one of them would have been a good kickoff or punt return. So they don't have the guys to go down the length of the field.
You talked about most expensive team. They're at home. This is an all-time embarrassing loss. Like it's a 20-point spread. You talked about
NFL wide receivers, right? They brought in this quarterback Howard because they needed somebody to throw to NFL wide receivers, and for some reason Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, is that their offensive guy?
Old man Chip
decided. You know what we're going to do? We're going to try and run the ball between the tackles to the only part of the Michigan team that is good. Their defensive tackles. Mason Graham is a beast. He's going to be a top 10 pick. Who's the other dude?
He's awesome. I forget his name. I didn't write that. No, he's awesome.
Anyway, they ran the ball up the middle unsuccessfully most of the time, and they just kept doing it. And then what happens? These are still 19, 20-year-old guys. They got tight, and Ohio State screwed up. Ryan Day screwed up. They wanted to show how tough they were, and they ended up showing that they're frauds.
Yeah, I'm glad
they're soft.
Yeah, so obviously they had this mindset where it's like, we lost because we weren't physical enough the past 3 years. We're just going to be physical and try to run the ball down the throat like they do. And it just that's not how they're built. That's not. And all the smart people were saying this, like, this is not a run the ball down your throat team. This is a mesh offense. This is crossing routes. This is drop back throws. They didn't play like that against Michigan. And Michigan.
And also, Will Johnson, who's Michigan's cornerback, who's going to be another top 12 or 14 pick, he was out too.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So
they should have thrown the ball. They didn't.
They should have thrown the ball, and they didn't. Thank you very much, Ohio State. I think we need to talk a little bit about the flag planting thing.
Go ahead.
Which isn't that big a deal. It has happened all the time. Happened with Texas 2 months ago. Nobody did anything. Baker Mayfield used to do it every week. But everybody decided, oh, this is it. And then the cops got crazy, and it got nuts. And now some Michigan senator wants to make it a
Ohio senator.
Ohio senator wants to make it a felony if somebody plants their flag in Ohio.
Okay. Yeah. So
Colossally stupid.
okay. Yeah. So thank you. The brawl stuff. Look, it happens. Obviously, you can pull the. It's not good for the sport. Like I'm not
It's
doing
not
that.
a big deal. Who cares?
It's like it happens. This stuff happens. Mullings, I loved his post game presser where he was just
Yes, he was great.
where he was basically just like, you had 60 minutes to do something about it, like lose with class. You're a bunch of classless punks. And then Ryan Day goes on the mic and says, my team is a bunch of prideful guys that, they won't take that. Like Jack Sawyer, Captain Jack, some 5-star bum, got fraud checked. He's 0-4 against Michigan. So I get that he's a little butthurt. Maybe don't attack the guy who's just trying to pick up the flag, like the worker. But a bunch of convicts. Sorry.
You know who gets another W? Is Avant, Michigan's wide receiver, who was like the Ohio State guy Sawyer and the other dude were trying to pick up that flag. Avant, who's like a sideline reporter, like went into beast mode and grabbed the flag and took care of it.
And now it's
That
like
was pretty cool.
the flag is hanging somewhere on Michigan stuff.
No, really?
They have it on display next
That's
to
awesome.
some natty stuff. Anyways, I'm glad we beat them. Like I said, this game means nothing and
So
it means
good.
everything. So we'll talk about the CFP for a bit. You have no notes on it, so maybe I can talk about it for a little.
Sure. We're in a pool. I got to figure that out.
Yep, so let me know when I can talk about the CFP.
What's your code now?
Okay, so the outcry is 3 times worse because there's 12 teams and not 4 teams. So everyone always complains after 4. Like Florida State didn't get in last year and everyone talked about it nonstop. This is way worse because there's 12 teams.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast International, that was 13-0 playing the Teachers College League. Said, we're undefeated, we should play. Now, any team in the top 25 thinks they got a shot.
Yep, so given the parameters, I think they got it mostly right. The main issue is Oregon is the 1 seed, and they have a harder path than Penn State, who's the 6 seed. So there's some kinks in that, like that needs to be fixed, where it's like, the obvious one is you get an auto bid in the top 12 if you win your conference, but you don't get an auto bye, right? Like Boise State is the 3 and has a bye. That's not right. And I love Boise State, and I've watched them a lot. Arizona State shouldn't have a bye over teams like, even like Ohio State, Penn State, Texas, those teams. SMU over Bama, like it's tough, whatever. Bama lost a bunch of games. Like, you lost 3 games. 2 of them were terrible losses,
Lost
right?
to Vanderbilt.
So, and SMU played garbage men all year, so it sets a precedent where it's like, what if Alabama just schedules garbage men every game except 1 next year? So they have this great record and no strength
What's
of schedule.
Indiana? Like 9, 10?
Because they play Notre Dame, who's 7, right? I think. I don't have it in front of me. I think. Anyways, I love it, right? Because it's like you can nitpick it. It's more football. It's football on a
And it's good football, right? Because all the bowl games are crap other than the last 3, right? Semifinals and the final. Now we got a bunch of bowl games that are entertaining. And does some start this weekend?
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Okay.
I love more football. It's great. Got this in NFL. So more college football is good by me. Obviously, there's some issues, but I'm happy nonetheless. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up? Do you want to talk about Florida for a bit?
Yeah, we're going to go to Florida, take the show on the road. We hope to have some special guest appearances when we're recording down there. And we're going to do some debate topics in Florida, right?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, like best Christmas movie ever, the most unbreakable record in sports, best and worst sports franchise the last 50 years, that kind of stuff. So fans, we would like...
Hope not. That would put me to sleep.
We would like your input as to what we should debate, right?
Okay.
Happy Days versus Laverne and Shirley.
Okay. Yeah, we're doing maybe one of those 5 you said. And it's
Nope.
best Christmas movie. And that's
It's
even...
Die Hard.
Well, that's semantics. But nonetheless, albeit, is there anything else you want to talk about that's good?
Football is good.
Okay. I had the Batman Cup story, but I'll say that next time we record with Batman Cups.
Batman Cups.
Basically, me and some cousins balled out today at an arcade to get Batman Cups, and we're quite prideful with the Batman Cups
Nice.
we received.
And classic. Made of glass.
And they're glass, they're collectible cups. It said on the box. So that's all I got.
Perfect.
That's all I got.
Thanks for the support, fans. Peace out.